If it would load.
They're going to snap it, and it's Trey Burton who throws caught. Foles, touchdown.
Pigs have flown. Hell is frozen over. The Saints are on their way to the Super Bowl.
4-3, game on the line. Williams lofting one for a doozy. He caught it!
You're listening to the world's #1 football podcast. Now, here are your hosts, Ben Hansen, Matt Hartman, and Ryan Matthews.
Hello, everybody. Welcome into the Pigskin Project. I am Matt Hartman, and we are a man down. All right, we have to address it. We are a man down, and no, it is not because of the result on Monday Night Football. Don't get it all in your feels there. No, Ryan has a birthday tomorrow. He's gonna be unk status. No, I'm just kidding. He's gonna be early 20s. Something like that. But we have a jam-packed show for you guys. Of course, football is all the way back. So week 2 of the NFL we're going to talk about. And then obviously at the end, College Corner talking week 3 and some recap. But before we get into that, Ben, how are we?
Oh, we are great. Wonderful weekend. I mean, literally just centered around watching as much football as we possibly could with the boys.
Together.
We had met up Friday, watched the Chargers and Chiefs game, spent the entire day in a sports book watching literally every single college football game that you could begin to think of, and then watched a good portion of Sunday's matchups together as well. It was a fantastic weekend. No better use of a weekend, if you ask me. But it was a whole lot of fun. And, to be frank, I can't be doing too bad after my Birds won. But, Matt, how you feeling?
I mean, dude, Mark Stoops. What the hell, man? It's just the parlay missed just by that much when Mark Stoops down by 10 decided to take a field goal with 13 seconds left. Shout out Lane Kiffin. He shouted out all the gamblers. He knows the spreads. He's built for Ole Miss, so that's pretty awesome. But outside of that, I think we should get rolling. So let's start with the show rundown. Obviously, we're going to hit on some weekly news, which for the most part is going to be, with now that the season has started, flexing into kind of an injury report kind of segment. Kind of a little, rapid fire injury report, more so than major news. There are some extensions this week, yes. So there is still some things here and there, but for the most part, that will be shifting a little bit. And then we'll get into the NFL. We'll get into the games of the week. Obviously, we'll talk about Thursday night's matchup between the Commanders and Packers, and 3 games on Sunday you won't want to miss, including a Super Bowl rematch. Obviously, we'll pick them. We'll pick every single game. We'll go over the records that we each have prior to that, and then Pigskin Payout, where we throw out some bets, not gambling advice. And then lastly, obviously, we'll wrap it up with College Corner. But let's start it out. Let's get into some weekly news.
Yeah. Again, trying to do this a little bit more rapid fire than we did, because again, as you said, regular season. To start off, probably what has been the worst kicker in the NFL over the last 2 years was finally waived. Jake Moody and the 49ers. Michigan man. Speaking of Michigan men, Jabril Peppers had gotten signed with the Steelers. Contract details still we don't know a whole lot about. 49ers did re-sign tackle. I'm gonna butcher this. Colton McKivitz to 3-year, $45 million. JMO finally got his big payday with the Lions. 3 years, 83 million, 67 of that fully guaranteed. Amani Hooker signed an extension with the Titans, 3 years, 400, not 400, wow, $48.6 million. Zadarius Smith, thank you, Lord, signed with the Eagles up to $8 million, but a lot of that is all incentive based. Who cares? Zion McCollum, Matt's guy, a certified Matt's guy, Zion McCollum, signed a 3-year, $48 million extension with the Buccaneers. On to injuries. There's just kind of 3 notable ones. Matt, you can fill in the gaps if I miss anything. Xavier Worthy is hurt, but not put on IR. If you're unfamiliar with the situation, Travis Kelce, I guess, just hates him and decided to take him out mid-game. Dron Bland, recently, as of today, got out of the injury report, is going to miss a couple weeks. We don't quite know the time frame on that. I guess he had rolled up on his ankle during practice.
He's not confirmed
Monday.
going to IR, right?
No, nothing confirmed.
Okay.
Nothing
okay,
confirmed.
I had that. Okay.
Yeah, I get the timeline in that is weird. Not a whole lot of information. Just he rolled his ankle in practice on Monday and might miss a few weeks. And that's basically to the extent that we know that. And then with Matt's luck, Julian Blackmon tore his labrum and is now officially out for the season. So now for what will be the 3rd time within the span of a couple months, the Saints will be looking for another safety. But that's the kind of brief run through, Matt. Let me know if I missed anything.
I mean, it's Jonas Sankertai, baby.
But you don't know how pumped I am.
Yeah, I just have some NFC West. So George Kittle is going to IR with a 4-week hamstring injury. And Brock Purdy is unlikely to play this week. So who faces the Niners this week? The New Orleans Saints. So
Mac Jones. Mac Jones is taking that job, and he is never giving it back. And also, side note, really quickly, Brock Purdy, in the 4 years that he has played, has never played a fully healthy season ever, which is just crazy to think about. But.
Last year is kind of a caveat, all right, because they said he could play last year in week 18, but they were already out, so they didn't play him. I'm going to defend Purdy, all right? I'm resident a Purdy defender here, so I'm going to defend the guy a little
after
bit.
Sunday's game, I don't know how much defending you can do, but
Jake Tonjes, baby. But then and then I had Worthy not practicing Wednesday, and then Nick Eamon-Worry may have a high ankle sprain and may miss multiple weeks. I know he is not practicing currently. There's no confirmation on if it's a high ankle sprain, but that was what was going around early Monday morning. So, yeah.
Yes. Really quickly, too, not super relevant, but Tank Bigsby got traded as well to my beloved Birds.
Yeah, for a 5th and the 6th. That was interesting.
Yeah, it was for
they hate Will Shipley that much?
He's hurt. Will Shipley's hurt.
Oh man, come on.
No, yeah, you got to cut him off the dynasty roster.
I did.
But yeah, I mean, they made that trade, and that's the benefit of having he had which made me so mad. I didn't think anyone was gonna pick him up. I had Hollywood Brown underneath Fannin, but I'm like, nah, no one's gonna get Fannin, but of course you did. But that's that's regardless. But yeah, they made that trade, and that's the benefit of Howie being Howie and having as many late round picks as he did. So
yeah, I saw some people critiquing the compensation, and I know I just made a joke about it, but he could trade down from a 4th in April and get those picks right back. So I didn't think this is what you do as a Super Bowl roster. You continue to just fill out depth all across.
People forget they're projected to have 3 third-round picks, 2 fourth-round picks, and I think 3 fifth-round picks. So we didn't need those, so it's fine. You can use them on a win-now player. But no.
Absolutely. But that is all for weekly news. So let's get into games of the week. NFL Week 2 is here. So let's start with Thursday night football. Commanders at Packers in Lambeau Field. Ben, what do you got?
Well, first off, I mean, I know Ryan isn't really here to defend himself. I'm taking like a little mini victory lap before I let you take your gigantic Olympic size victory lap with this Packers. Again, I mean, if you guys are coming from previous seasons, we usually do a recap, but Matt put out an excellent recap on
Yep.
Sunday night after everything that had happened. So expect those to come out. So if you guys want to know more information about that, go watch that video. But regardless, I mean, the Packers offense in general looked very, 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 very good. And if they can continue to look that good, they're going to be a hard team to stop when you have a guy like Micah Parsons coming off the edge, just like he did against the Lions. That being said, with Jaden Daniels, he picked up right where he had left off last year. And I'm really interested because I think these are two offenses that most of the time would not struggle to move the ball down the field. And I don't think the Packers really will struggle at all against this Commanders defense. So I really think it just comes down to, can this Commanders defense get stops when they really need it? Because that was the big question mark going into it. They weren't really tested by a team with the Giants this past weekend. This is going to be really their first test to see what that defense has. So,
Yeah, I imagine going from Russell Wilson, who, like I've said, he's 36. He still plays like he's 26, but it's somehow like it's so much worse. He'll run around for like 2 seconds and then just check down. Going from that to Jordan Love is a stark difference because Jordan Love will rip it. All right, sometimes a little too hard and sometimes a little too reckless, but that man will rip it compared to Russell Wilson, who has no pop whatsoever. But yeah, you mentioned it, both 1-0 very convincingly in week 1 against division foes. One much more impressive than the other because one was the Detroit Lions, who won 15 games, and the other was the Giants, who were picking third last year. But you can only play the team that is in front of you. This is a game that I marked down as probably has seeding and playoff effects down the line. You know, this is a game that we could look back in December, and the winner of this game is a leg up over the other just because of, tiebreakers. And then lastly, obviously, I had to mention it, are the Packers the best team in football? Because my Lord, I said it on the recap show. The way they deployed Micah Parsons with this like back injection, where they just deployed him as this final boss, especially on that first drive where he trots on the field for 3rd and 7 and immediately just goes right at Penny Sewell's chest and drives him back into Jared Goff, who had to check it down, who he did that a lot, by the way. That was just incredible. It was a great moment. But last thing on this game is my matchup. My matchup of the week is going to be the Packers offensive line against the Commanders pass rush. This was a Commanders pass rush who had a ton of pressures on Russell Wilson, but again, could not sack the quarterback. They only had 2 sacks on the day, and we've talked about it, Ben. We're shaky on this group. Javon Kinlaw made some plays. I'll say that. But just overall, with the way Love played in structure against the Lions, there's going to be a pretty similar man coverage DNA game plan from Dan Quinn against this Packers team. So if Love's seeing it and he's ripping it, I don't know how the Commanders are going to stop him on the back end unless these front 4 guys are able to wreak havoc across this offensive line. Do you have anything to add on this game before we move on to the next one?
No, I mean, you're absolutely right. Again, I mean, not to make it about quarterbacks, but it's a quarterback league. I mean, if Jaden Daniels can pick up where he left off last week and the previous week, we're going to be in for an absolute treat. And I'm just going to be really interested to see how they deploy Micah Parsons another week, away from that trade Let's see if we can get even more consistent snaps here in this game. Obviously, so much of it depends on his back and how he's feeling, but it's going to be interesting to see again how it is another week removed.
Yeah, I also just want to shout out my ball knowledge. The Packers currently are plus 750 to win the Super Bowl, behind the Ravens, Bills, and Eagles at 7-1, so plus 700. I got the Packers with the profit boost on the FanDuel Futures Day that happened a few days before the Micah Parsons trade. I got a profit boost on the Packers Super Bowl at plus 2,700. So I am riding high after one football game from the Green Bay Packers. But let's move into two of those other teams that are talking about the Super Bowl. Your Birds against the Kansas City Chiefs. Super Bowl rematch. Plenty of rest, especially for Jalen Carter, who did not play in Week 1, which we'll talk about. And then the status on Xavier Worthy, still not practicing this Wednesday. Again, you'll find out as the week goes on if he was able to lock a limited practice in the next 3 days, or next 2 days at this point. He's got a shot to play, but if he cannot play, are we going to see Hollywood Brown? At one time, I turned to you when we were sitting watching this game. Marquise Brown at one point had 8 catches for 38 yards. And if he didn't catch that 40-yard explosive pass from Mahomes late in this game, that stat line does not look great. And so if Worthy is down, that is likely where they have to turn. But what do you have to add?
No, obviously the big thing was waiting on the verdict. Was the NFL going to suspend Jalen Carter? Were they not going to suspend Jalen Carter? The news officially broke today that they were just not going to suspend him because they considered him,
which is the right move. That is my
Yes, yeah. They had considered again. Him had served his 1-game suspension because he missed the entirety of that game. That being said, before we get into everything else, that was absolutely despicable. I don't know how you do that to another man. That is arguably worse than just outright punching him. And to be frank, it's crazy to me that it happened twice last week. We'll get into that later.
Down in the swamp.
Exactly. We'll get that later in the episode. Absolutely despicable. I don't care if Dak Prescott spit towards him and laughed and chuckled at him. Well, yeah, you're just stupid. What are you doing? You're hurting yourself. You're hurting your team. You're doing something dumb. And while the NFL might not have suspended him, I really hope that Nick Sirianni does. But at the end of the day, Nick Sirianni's whole thing is that he's a culture guy, he's a vibes guy, and I trust whatever he decides is best for them. But we still haven't necessarily ruled out him being at least suspended for the first quarter or a half or something. And this is something they've done before. They've sat him for an entire quarter against the Falcons last year for missing a team practice. So that's up in the air and we'll see it. But that's going to play a huge impact on this game, depending on whether or not he plays or doesn't. Because we had this conversation kind of extensively. They just were not able to get after Dak at all. That pass rush was abysmal. Given you go out, you sign Zadarius Smith, you do it after week 1, so his contract's not fully guaranteed, which is nice. But without Jalen Carter, that pass rush was awful. And if you can't get to Pat Mahomes, no matter who he's throwing the football to, if he's going to sit back in the pocket for 5-6 seconds, you're going to lose. So it's going to be really interesting, and that's really the main thing I'm worried about more than anything is whether he plays or doesn't play. Regardless, will they be able to get pressure on him? And that's really, I think, going to be the key to the game for the Eagles. If you can get pressure on him, I think you're in a good spot to hopefully win it just like you did during the Super Bowl last year. That was kind of the big thing. You were able to get pressure on him with 4 guys, drop everyone else back in coverage. Let's see if you can do it again. But Your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean that was the banner flying. I mean, it was every football nerd was throwing up like this team dominated Mahomes like no other team has ever done. Oh, by the way, never blitzed once. And like we've, Milton Williams is on a different team. Josh Sweat is on a different team. Jalen Carter is, is he down a half? Like so the core principles of how to beat Kansas City, like Philly is much less, kind of structured to do so now, but still have that opportunity as Ben is gone. Uh-oh. But let's get into my matchup because the show must go on. Spags versus Jalen Hurts and versus it was a matchup in the Super Bowl that didn't come to fruition because of a major blowout. But what is does Spags really, really press the issue and get Hurts in unfavorable downs and distances to force him to make throws? That's the biggest question to
Whoa.
me. I assume that's the game plan. Like, let's stop Barkley and we can
Yes.
handle Hurts because Jalen Hurts throwing the football on Thursday night was not electric. Everybody was really pointing out that passing chart, but he was phenomenal scrambling. He looked like Mahomes scrambling. So,
You made people look
again,
silly.
I think that this comes down to you mentioned the Philly defense against the Kansas City offense. I'm mentioning the Kansas City defense against the Philly offense because if Worthy is down, this is going to become a 2024 Chiefs game, and it's going to be a race to 20. And the Chiefs know how to win those games. Couldn't win it against the Chargers because, of course, the Chargers scored 27 points. And Ryan is here. Everybody, welcome Ryan. But he is muted.
I'm back. I'm here.
Oh,
So ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being patient with me. I know the guys have kept you guys good company and everything. We're on the road right now. I had the privilege to see my little sister, who's a freshman in high school, get asked to homecoming tonight, and she said yes, ladies and gentlemen. So very cool.
Yeah.
So we're talking Eagles and Chiefs, right? This is going to be a fun one. I don't know exactly what points you guys have made yet, but all I got to say is, I mean, the neither one of these teams really met my expectations for either one of them for week one. That's my first initial thoughts, I would say. The Chiefs, I mean, against the Chargers, obviously losing Worthy early on kind of was a bummer. But I mean, the Eagles against a Micah Parsons-less Cowboys team was kind of rough. And then obviously you lose Jalen Carter, which is a massive piece of that defense. I guess, my first take, I guess, is that the Eagles are ridiculously lucky that they didn't lose him for more due to a suspension. So, but yeah, I don't know. It's going to be a really fun one. This is like probably my second or third most anticipated matchup of the week. So, Oh,
Yeah.
also, not to completely derail the podcast and all of its, glory, but Ben, I'm going to have you read my predictions out to everybody, and I'm going to explain why, because obviously I'm driving and I
Yes.
can't read that. So
Yep. Yep. When we work our way over, I got Ryan's predictions. I'll read it off to you guys. It'll be great. Kind of the last point, before we move on, unless Matt has anything else to say. Again, given it's no excuse, but we had seen it across all levels of play of football, whether that was NFL Thursday night, whether that was college on Saturday night, whether that was NFL on Sunday. These rain delays have a
oh,
major effect on these games, and for fans too, it's awful. And I understand why you have to do it, but I mean, the stark difference between what that game was prior to the rain delay for the Eagles and Chiefs and how it ended up was awful. A point wasn't scored after the rain delay for the final 8 minutes, and then in the third quarter. So rain delay on, not a single point was scored in that game. And those rain delays really have a huge impact. And it was funny because during that Eagles Cowboys broadcast, they like pan to Trayvon Diggs like walking around the tunnels eating like a cold cut. And it just absolutely sucks the mood out of all of these games because of stuff like that. But yeah, again, it's going to be interesting. Super Bowl rematch. Me and Matt are both in agreement there. It really just comes down to defensively and who can put the other quarterback in some tricky, tough situations here.
And then
Yeah.
lastly, what happens if the Chiefs start 0-2? Is the
Oh my
sky
God.
falling in Kansas City? Like after going 15-1 a year ago with Patrick Mahomes at the starter, they lose 2 games in 2 weeks to start the season. That'd be interesting. I would love to see Mahomes try and climb out of that hole. Let's get on to the main noon slate game.
Mhm.
Bears-Lions. Ryan's Bears against the
Oh, man.
Detroit Lions. 2 0-1 division teams. So one of these two teams has to start 0-2 in the division. Uh-oh. Ben Johnson's homecoming to Detroit this time as the visitor. And then does one or both of these quarterbacks bounce back in a major way? I'm going to start with Ryan because obviously we want to hear some thoughts on Caleb Williams and how Monday Night Football went for you, buddy.
Matt, I love you for bringing me in here a little bit earlier for that, because I was suffering that first night, and I don't think I'm really happy that I gave it a night to like fully process what that game was, because I don't feel like I gave it a proper analysis. I'm not in the right headspace. Everybody knows that I'm a crazy Bears fan and I'm a vibes guy. And if the vibes are bad, then my thinking isn't great. Speaking of bad vibes, Panthers, thumbs down. But Bears, yes. My quarterback, not good enough. So the first quarter, right? Or first half, I guess. Dude started 10 for 10. That was cool to me, and not to mention that Roma Dunze catch in the first half, and I believe in the first drive, where he scrambled outside of the pocket and was able to make that throw to Rome to where they tight-roped it. These two are getting really good at that, and I'm really, really happy about that. That's what you want to see out of that tandem. I mean, you drafted them at 1 and 9 in the same draft. I mean, 2 top 10 picks. This is something that you need out of them. So, also, I greatly appreciate or apologize for any of the traffic in the background, guys. I hope it's not too loud. But the Bears, they really, really impressed me on the defensive side. That would be my biggest takeaway here. Just because they're missing T.J. Edwards, which is their best linebacker in coverage. They were missing.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
I think our caller went
Five
through a
corner.
tunnel.
Wait, was it that bad? Could you guys understand me or no?
no,
You couldn't understand me?
we could not.
You like the defensive effort.
Yeah, defense was cool. We're missing a few of our players that, T.J. Edwards, good in coverage. Kyler Gordon, our best nickelback, and then not to mention a top 5 corner in the league in Jalen Johnson. I really, really anticipate this team to bounce back after looking at the injury report today. T.J. Edwards, I believe, is ramping up to play on Sunday. Jalen Johnson was off the injury report as well. Kyler Gordon was one of those players that was out, so that's unfortunate. And then I believe Grady Jarrett also took some time off, but I don't anticipate him to miss any time. So going into this matchup for the Lions, these are two teams that both teams didn't look great against their divisional opponent. And obviously both of these teams are extremely hungry to get at each other. You got Ben Johnson, like you said, coming from Detroit, making his debut not only against the Lions, but at Detroit. It's a huge matchup that I can't wait for. But yeah, I mean, I could dive into Caleb, I guess, a little bit while traffic dies down a little bit by us. This quarterback, man, it's finally raised some concerns to me. It's at that level to where I'm not out on the guy. It's clearly week 1. It's way too early to be out on the guy. But those accuracy issues that we talked about last season, are popping up. You're hitting, or you're missing screen passes that should be hit. You're missing passes over the middle. You're throwing hospital balls to your number one receiver in DJ Moore. Like, these are things that need to be ironed out over the season, and some of these players are going to get hurt because of it. And other concerns that I have, Jonah Jackson played like crap. You already extended the guy without seeing him play another snap, and I can't stand it. Like, this right guard that we signed or traded for, even worse. Just didn't play well, and as a result, Darnell Wright kind of having to kind of overcompensate, in my opinion. It just didn't look good, and obviously you need some of that. But the problem with that is not just the fact that they didn't perform well in that game, but also the fact of the matter is they didn't perform well during the preseason or training camp as well. So knowing that this has been a problem for months now, and it still isn't getting ironed out, is definitely something worth noting, especially against this Lions team that's going to be very disciplined going into this one. Now, I'll talk about J.J. McCarthy for a second, and I guess this is just a hot take, but the kid's not that great. He didn't prove anything to me. He threw for less than 50 yards in the first half. He got completely shut down by not even a fully healthy Bears team, and he was gifted the NFC Player of the Week on the offensive side. That is absolute bullcrap and pure favoritism and pure rage baiting from the NFL as a whole. And I think that this is completely out of left field when it comes to, hey, we're going to go ahead and just throw this in the kid. Well, congratulations on having a decent fourth quarter, but what happened for the rest of the, 75% of the game? When you factor in that the kid had, less than 100 passing yards by the end of the third quarter, and not to mention a pick six, but everybody's just throwing that pick six out of the window, despite the fact that was one of the most horrible reads I've seen all weekend. And, that we're just, it's J.J. McCarthy, and it's Kevin O'Connell, and they won the game. That's all fine and dandy and everything, but, the Bears lost this game more than the Vikings won it. And that's what I'll leave it at.
Okay. Well,
this is electric, dude. He feels like a caller on a radio show in Chicago, just letting everything roll, dude.
No, it is. It's fantastic. That being said, for all of the talk that people had going into the season about J.J. McCarthy and this being his rookie year because he didn't have anything, and this is, again, his pseudo-rookie year, you have to meet that with grace there, I think would be what I said. Again, there was a clear from the first, 2.5 quarters, that final, 8 minutes in the third and fourth quarter, there was a change in the kid. You saw him get comfortable. You saw him adjust to the speed of play. Again, I think, it's easy to say, well, he looked bad. Well, yeah, he looked bad. It was his first ever game action in the NFL. That being said, I don't want to focus too much on the J.J. McCarthy of it all. We'll jump over to the Bears here. As you said, the big concern for me with the Bears really is this was supposed to be the offensive line that was supposed to be great, and this is finally supposed to be the year. But as me and Matt had said, going into the season, Jonah Jackson was just flat out bad. And we knew that as soon as the Bears traded for him. And Darnell Wright didn't look great. And the awesome thing with that was that allowed you to see all of that amazing off-script stuff that we had talked about in the film breakdown with Caleb. And it's all fine and dandy when you can do all of that amazing stuff. But if you can't get the simple stuff down, like your rhythmic passing, it's going to be bad. And that's when you're going to start getting into a world of trouble. And that's exactly what happened. So I'm really interested to see going into this week against the Bears, when Ben Johnson does face his former team, can he calm down his young quarterback a little bit? Can he get him to be able to make these easy plays? Because we know that you can do all the special stuff. Now let's do the easy stuff here. And that's going to be the really, really big thing. Can we neutralize Aiden Hutchinson, given he didn't look amazing last week? But can we give this kid enough time to allow him to do the easy stuff? And that's really what I'm going to be looking here in the Bears and Lions game. But Matt, what do you got?
Yeah, I'll speed on through this. The run game. I think the run game on each side needs to be much better. Both teams in Week 1 couldn't run the ball. The Bears had a success rate of less than 20%, which was the worst of any team in football. Basically, what success rate is what is your percentage of gaining EPA on a given run? And runs you don't really gain a whole ton of EPA unless it's a 4+ yard carry, but they had a less than 20%, which is ridiculously bad. So 1 out of 5 runs were good. 4 out of 5 runs were bad, and most of those were Caleb scrambles, to be honest with you. And then the Lions had a bottom 5 total rush EPA for the first time since 2022, like early in 2022. So when they started, 1-6, 1-7, I believe. So again, both both run offenses were outright bad, and both run defenses were fine, but not overwhelming enough for either side to not have success here in Week 2 in running the football. But that is all for this game for now. Of course, we will pick it later in the show. Let's get into. I can't believe this game is going on at the same time as the Super Bowl rematch. Broncos Colts. Like, this is my game of the week. I am so excited for this game. The 2 literal best defenses in Week 1 by DVOA and EPA. Just outright dominant defenses in Week 1. These are 2 shaky against pressure quarterbacks. Movable object meets, what's the, irresistible force, whatever. I don't know. I'm just yapping, dude. I'm just pumped for this game. And then status on Dre Greenlaw. He did not play in Week 1 for the Denver Broncos, and he is DNP on Wednesday. So we may have to wait another week on Dre Greenlaw playing for the Broncos Orange. But, Ben, what do you got in this game?
Again, I'm going to continue kind of picking the low-hanging fruit here with the quarterbacks. I mean, we had spent the entire offseason talking about, really? Is Shane Steichen and Chris Ballard going to bet their jobs on Daniel Jones? And then he went out Week 1 and just silenced everyone. It's amazing what you do when you get those Giants players outside of New York. But, I mean, can Daniel Jones play half as well as what he did? Because you cannot expect Daniel Jones to play like that each and every week. But the thing is with the talent around the Colts roster, you don't need him to play like that every week. You just need him to be a stable, consistent force. But the thing is, that's going to be really, really difficult when you are playing against this Broncos defense. Yep. And it's going to be really, really interesting to see if Nick Bonito can really get pressure on this guy. See if Daniel Jones can actually have success throwing against this defense. And then vice versa. I mean, the Colts defense, as you said, went out and pitched a shutout game against Tua. And they looked great. You're not going to get Latu picking off the football many times this year. That sure wasn't on my bingo card. But can that defense just play, just like I talked about with Daniel Jones, at a sustainable level? You don't need them to play this top-ranked defense. You just need them to be average. You just need them to be all right. So it'll be really interesting to see if the Colts can at least sustain a little bit, because they don't have to play the way they did. If they can just keep up at, a middle echelon, above average, what they showed out against Miami. And I think if they can do that in this game, they really do have a shot against these Broncos. And then Bo Nix, let's see what you got. Just going to be fun. I don't want to say the jury's still out on Bo Nix. He had a great rookie year.
The jury's still out on Bo Nix.
But the jury's still out on Bo Nix. So, but that's, again, kind of my analysis on the Colts there.
For me,
Brian?
I mean, you pretty much hit it. You pretty much hit it on the nail here. I mean, I mean, the Colts definitely, exceeded every expectation that I had. And for that reason, Ben, I mean, you took the words out of my mouth. I'm going to use this time to kind of talk about at least a little bit. Like, guys, is it time to hit the panic button in Miami yet? Like, Mike McDaniel.
Whoa.
Uh,
Oh.
my
Whoa.
prediction.
Whoa.
Uh,
You there?
so, yeah, I'm just saying. Oh, did I lose you? I'm sorry, guys. Are we good?
Yeah.
Hello? We're good? We're good? Okay.
It looks like we.
Here,
It looks
hold
like
on
the
a minute.
caller from
Hold this thought.
Chicago is back on the line.
The Angry Bears fan is non-existent, apparently. Listen, I'll be home in like 10 minutes. Give me 15. I'll be on the podcast on my computer with the normal setup. How's that sound?
Yeah.
You got it, brother.
All right. I'll be home soon.
Yeah, that
Ah.
was the universe smiting him for trying to this beautiful matchup of Broncos Colts to use his breath on the Miami Dolphins. All right,
exactly
that's what that was. The
It was
universe was
nice.
smiting him. All right, I just want that to be known. Okay, I was not going to use any of my breath talking about
No.
the Miami Dolphins, because they are a blank show.
Hey,
yeah.
we did tell you to take the under 7.5 wins on them. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, and then I picked him in the parlay last week. But yeah, my matchup this week, you talked about Daniel Jones against the Broncos defense. I knew you were going to go there, so I went the other side. I went Bo Nix versus the Colts defense. Bo Nix once again against Lou Anarumo. They faced off on that Saturday Classic, remember last year, against the Bengals. Bo Nix had that monster throw to Marvin Mims, and then he had that crazy throw at the end of the game to tie it up. Like, it was a masterclass of these explosive plays for Bo Nix. This time, Lou Anarumo's got some back-end talent. They signed Cam Bynum, who had a pick in his first game. They have Charvarius Ward, who can kind of, is the exact body type you want to throw at a guy like Cortland Sutton. So interested to see what he does on the back end. And then does Lou Anarumo get a little bit out of his comfort zone and heat up the shaky quarterback under pressure, as I mentioned before? Week 1, Bo Nix against the Tennessee Titans under pressure. 2 for 7, 30 yards, 2 interceptions. Not good. And this was a quarterback who last year was bottom 5 by any advanced metric you looked at against the pressure. So, again, like, I think this Colts defense can really get after you if you let them. And can they do it with 4? We still got to find that out, because Miami's never going to hold on to the ball too long that, we're going to be able to see these guys get upfield. But against a team like the Broncos, Bo Nix has a high time to throw. He likes to hold on to the football, try and make things happen. I think the Colts got the recipe to get this one. But let's get into the pick'em. Should we go with payout first, because are we stalling for Ryan, or should we get into pick'em and he can kind of catch up?
We can go with payout first.
Okay. All right.
I have mine. I have Ryan's.
Nice.
And then once we do mine and Ryan's, we can get to Matt.
We probably won't time this up perfectly, but he won't have to catch up too much.
Yeah, he won't have to catch up too bad. Again, for those who are not watching live, we do this Wednesday night. So a majority of like your passing lines, your rushing lines, your receiving lines are not out. So it's just a whole lot of spreads, a whole lot of money lines. And then maybe if you're feeling, a line that really, really piques your interest for the Thursday night game, or if you're lucky, maybe there'll be a line out for Sunday. But that being said, we'll jump right off the bat for mine. Recap really quickly. Guys, I'm sorry for last week's line. I had the Dolphins in there. Dolphins money line. That was bad.
We trolled last week.
Yeah, we trolled. We were tricking you. We told you guys not to listen to us. And I also had ASU covering 6.5. Yeah, they lost.
Rat line,
Out.
brother.
Rat line. Yeah. Hey, I tried to cash out too, and they were up. It wouldn't let me. But oh well. Getting into my line, we're doing Bengals money line at minus 108. That spoils obviously my pick for that game just a little bit, but that's a-okay with me. Bengals money line at minus 108, like I said. We're gonna take the over on Jordan Love's rushing yards for the game. It's only 5.5. That seems kind of free, and that's minus 103. He looks like a baby gazelle out there the way he tried to stop in that Lions game and slide. It was bad, but I still think he can pick it up. I mean, he's an athletic quarterback. You don't need him to rush for a crazy amount. And then this doesn't spoil my prediction at all, but I do have the Bears covering the 6.5 line there. That's minus 118 for the Bears. That puts your overall parlay payout at plus 408. So you put $10. The total payout there is going to be $50 roughly, $50.80. So if you're feeling feisty and want to follow me, you can absolutely do that. I have Ryan's pigskin payout for you guys as well. Again, there's not the odds on his yet because he just did a straight touchdown parlay line, none of which are involving the Thursday night game. He had CeeDee Lamb touchdown, Zach Charbonnet touchdown, Jahmyr Gibbs touchdown, and Jalen Hurts touchdown. So all of them anytime touchdown score. Again, I'd assume every single one of those individual lines would be within negative odds on their own, maybe outside of the Zach Charbonnet line. But I mean, Zach Charbonnet even got some, more run than what people had expected. But that is his pigskin payout. Like I said, the odds aren't out, so I can't give you the total payout on what that would be. But Matt, are we done cooking, or are we still in the kitchen?
Yeah, we're gonna play light chat. There's only a few plays I like. Browns plus 14.5 alt spread from 11.5. If you remember this spot last year, the Ravens lost to a Gardner Minshew Raiders team at home. So don't look at the teams, don't look at the elements and go, oh no, this is the Ravens, they're too good. The Ravens are looking to win by 1 point and 1 point only. And I think if you can move that up to plus 14.5, which is minus 172, I think it's pretty valuable to kind of tease that in there because Flacco's going to air it out and he's going to keep that game close. Next, we got Pittsburgh Steelers money line at home against Seattle. I didn't like the Seahawks offense. Really didn't. I think it was a very funnel game to JSN, and everybody else is kind of working in the kinks. I think the Steelers know exactly what they are. And the Rodgers game was weird. Like I said on the podcast, he was fine. He was okay. He wasn't like 250 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions good, as his stat line said. But he worked within the offense. I think he understands some of the concepts, and just like he did with LaFleur early in the Packers' tenure, he's going to ease himself into the offense and still do some of his things where he sees off coverage and throws the slant to DK Metcalf, which he did late in that game against New York. But I have them beating the Seattle Seahawks. And then lastly, Broncos Colts under 46.5. Let's alt that under a little bit to kind of tease that with the Cleveland Browns alt spread. I just don't know how these quarterbacks are going to score. I like their skill groups. I think this could be a real grinded out 17-16 football game. Especially I think the first half could really fly by because these two teams are just trying to feel out what the defensive style kind of is. Is it a super pressure packed game where everybody's sending 5 on 3rd and 6, or is it a game where kind of like Brian Flores against Caleb Williams in the first quarter and a half, it was just vanilla, just a lot of vanilla coverage. Show, see it, read it, kind of things like that, and the clock just kind of ticks and ticks and ticks on by. So that's what I had. Only plus 301 this week. Nothing crazy, but it's something to have you invested in some games that maybe you wouldn't have invested in already.
Well, all I'm saying here, Matt, is I don't know if you can remember to last Saturday, But what happened the last time you said, I don't know how this team is going to score? We'll get into what I'm referencing there in College Corner with one specific team. But I just I thought I should throw that one out.
They just
there.
ran
We
away with
got a
it,
good
man.
chuckle
They ran
from
away
that one.
with it.
It was awful. It was really, really bad. But
Mensa!
again, we'll save
All right,
that for
let's get into Pick'em.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Pigskin Pick'em. What did you go let me find it in our chat, right?
Yes. So I do have everyone's records written down.
Okay,
I
you
could
do.
be
All
wrong.
right.
But
I think I have mine.
I'm pretty sure I'm correct based off of Ryan's calculations after the midday slate. I think I was able to get everything right. We'll start out with Matt. We're doing what only if the Saints could do this. Matt went 500. He went 8-8. Ryan went 9-7, and your reigning current champion, not reigning, I guess, but current champion, me, going 12-4. I feel pretty proud about myself. That being said, I don't think any of us won or put any points in the column in terms of our underdog picks. So we're still waiting for someone to get points in the column there. We'll see if someone can do it this week. But Pigskin Pick'em time.
All right. Let's get in to the Pick'em. Obviously, number one, Thursday Night Football, Commanders at Packers. Packers favored by 3.5. Ben, what do you got?
Yeah, I have the Packers winning this one. Again, as we had talked about, I think they're two offenses that are very good. But at the end of the day, I'm going to go with the defense that I can trust on more. That is going to be the Packers. And just like you guys heard in our intro, pigs have flown. Ryan will also go with the Packers here in this one. Shocked to hear that.
Yeah, I think this is funny. On his birthday, his two ops are playing against each other, Jaden Daniels and the Packers. I'm going to take the Packers as well. Obviously, I think they're the better team, and even like at 3.5 at home, I think there's a world where this offense could run over this defense because this defense got older and worse, in my opinion. So we'll see how that goes. That could be clipped out pretty bad, but yeah, we're all going Packers. Next, I have we talked about it. Bears, Lions. Lions favored by 6.5 at home. I'm going Lions. What do you got?
Yes, I'm going Lions as well here. I just I can't expect them to be as sloppy as what they were last week. And again, I think the pressure is just going to get to the kid again. That being said, I mean, what other team would? Oh, he's back. What other team would Ryan go with other than the Bears? This is his upset team, and I will let him take it away.
Yeah, I just don't think the Lions have it. I don't know.
Excellent.
And we're getting back our defense as far as two at least of the players that are really good on that defense. I think the O-line needs to be more disciplined, and I think Caleb needs to just be better. I don't know. It's one thing that I didn't mention as the Chicago caller was, this passing game was schemed up so well. And, Ben Johnson, I think, did a good job. I think we could have ran the ball a little bit more, and I think he agrees according to the press conferences. And it's going to be interesting to see what they do with it because, I mean, Swift was not good at all. But I believe in it. I do believe in it, and that's why I'm going with the Bears as my upset of the week.
There you go.
All right, and then we get into Giants, Cowboys. Cowboys favored by 5.5 at home. Again, I'm taking the Cowboys. I'm taking the favorite.
Yeah, I mean, this one seems easy. I'd be shocked if we didn't clean sweep this one. I mean, famous last words when I said this one seems
I love that
easy,
it took 1 week. I love that it took 1 week for Brian Daboll to have to come out and say, like, yeah, Russ is still our guy. It took 1 week. Well,
I wonder I wonder how many more football games he can get away with doing that. But we'll see. I mean, we'll see after this week if they still plan on doing that. I mean, rumors are ownership is like meeting with him to already try to convince him to start Jackson Dart, but we'll see where that train goes. But again, easy pick here for me. I think it's the Cowboys.
Yeah, I think it's the Cowboys too. I mean, for not having Micah Parsons, this Cowboys defense kind of held its own against the Eagles, at least stayed competitive, and the Giants just look awful, man.
0% man coverage call by Matt Eberflus in week 1.
Are you surprised at all? Are you surprised?
No, I mean, Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown combined for 4 catches and like 30 yards. So, I mean, like, no explosive plays, and they got 1 to Dotson, right? So, it wasn't bad.
All right. What we got next?
Bills, Jets at MetLife. The Bills are favored by 6.5. Jets looked pretty good. How about that guy under center? I'm going to take the Bills. I think, again, man, I really want to take the Jets again. I'm itching to take the Jets again here just because of that Bills secondary really makes me worried, and I think Justin Fields is back. But we're taking the Bills. Jets plus 6.5.
Are you telling me that $140 for my Justin Fields helmet was actually reasonable to spend? Am I about to make profit by selling it? Who knows? Ben, go for it.
Yeah, hey, not as long as there's still that Bears logo slapped on the side of it. That being said, again, Matt covered it very well. Absolute shootout. I mean, the Bills offense was fantastic, and I think that's just going to continue to, be the case all season long, especially against, what the Jets put out on defense. I'm going Bills all the way.
Nice.
Bills for sure. Yeah. Sorry. I don't know. They beat the Ravens, and that's the best team in the league, in my opinion. That was an amazing comeback. That was awesome. I mean, easy pick for me. I'm sorry, Justin, but it's just not happening.
Rams at Titans. Rams are favored by 5.5. Again, one of these like awkward touchdown spreads here. I think I just continue to go chalk. I'm going Rams. I like their pass rush against the rookie quarterback. Again, Cam Ward. It's going to take some time because he did a lot of drifting. He got sacked out of field goal range like twice in that game. They didn't score a touchdown. But, man, the highs were pretty cool. He made some good throws, and the Titans kind of sold him. But we're going to take the Rams, go chalk again.
Yeah, we're lockstep here, just we have in all previous games. Going chalk, Rams.
Yeah.
All right. Jaguars at Bengals. Bengals favored by 3.5. Sorry, Cincinnati. I am taking Jacksonville. I think the vibes. Vibes are better in Jacksonville right now. The Bengals 7 total second half yards against the Cleveland Browns, and if the kicker for the Cleveland Browns doesn't A, miss an extra point, and then B, miss another chip shot field goal later in the drive, and then 2 Joe Flacco tipped interceptions, the Browns are beating the Bengals last week. But we don't talk about that. The Bengals are 1-0. I think the Bengals are always due for September slip-ups. The Bengals, this is their preseason, all right? 31 other teams play preseason in August. They play it in September. I'm taking the Jaguars, and they are my upset.
There it is. I think we saw their September slip up last week. They just got lucky that it happened against the Browns, and they're going to learn from it. This offense is going to start out slow, as we've seen. They pick it up. I mean, it's 7 total yards of offense in the entire second half for the Bengals. Yikes. That being said, I think they're going to bounce back, and I think they're going to look great. Bengals.
Yeah, I also have the Bengals here, but I'm.
Oh no! Oh no!
Dude, he's crashing.
The caller from Chicago.
Am I starting to believe a little bit? I think so. I don't
know. Whoa! What?
Okay.
What are you starting to believe?
All right.
Week 1 overreactions. Take it with a grain of salt. Like
you glitched for 10 seconds. What irrational thing did you just say in the last 10 seconds?
I said, "Am I starting to believe?" I don't know. Here we
Believe in
go.
what?
Like
Whoa.
Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Oh, whoa! So you picked the Jags. There you go.
No, I picked the
was all
Bengals.
right.
I picked the
Oh,
Bengals.
okay.
I said
He was all right in week 1, but 70-yard
yeah.
rush by ETN really helped everybody out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm picking the Bengals strictly because I think Joe Burrow. Dude, I'm going back and forth with this one. I'm going with the Bengals, and yeah, I said that this was almost my upset of the week. So I don't know, but it's rough. Yeah.
All right.
Next game, yeah.
Patriots, Dolphins. Dolphins are favored by 1.5 at home.
How on earth?
Good God, man. I guess it's the home thing. I don't want to talk about either of these teams because week 1 for both teams was pretty bad. And I think the thing is like Vrabel's calling card was making sure everything felt stable. They felt anything but stable against the Raiders, especially in the second half. The Dolphins, dumpster fire. Who's more of the dumpster fire? That's why I'm taking the Patriots because I think the Dolphins are the bigger dumpster fire.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I mean, who on earth could have ever foreseen that bringing back Josh McDaniels?
No money will be on this game from me. No money at all.
But who could have foreseen that bringing back Josh McDaniels could have went awful and terrible? Not me. No one. That being said, I mean, this is my upset of the week. This one kind of felt almost a little too easy for me. I'm going Patriots, and again, upset of the week for me.
I'm also going Patriots. It's not my upset of the week, but I just like the Patriots more here.
Do you think the Patriots
honestly.
are favored by Sunday morning?
I think so.
I would imagine.
It's at least like that weird where both teams are minus money and nobody wants to bet on it kind of thing. One of those situations.
I want to see how the money comes in because the Dolphins at home early in seasons because it's so damn hot outside, they're pretty decent. So, not talking myself into it. No money will be on this game. But let's move on. Browns at Ravens. Ravens favored by 11.5. Give me the Ravens money line. I talked about the Browns taking them in pigskin payout plus 14.5. I think this game is close, but again, I think the Ravens are going to win by 3-6. Something where it's like, oh, too close for comfort, but Baltimore gets the W.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said it any better.
Yep, I'm with you.
Yeah, I thought that one was pretty easy. Seahawks at Steelers. Steelers favored by 2.5. The over-under is one of the only, I think the only over-under that is under 40 points. Man, I again, I'm taking Steelers money line as I did in payout, so obviously, but this could be a funky game, guys. This could be a funky game. I want to see what Mike McDonald does to old Aaron Rodgers in the pocket. Does he really heat him up with some pressure packages? Because he's not known to do so. He kind of just does vanilla things, but he kind of rotates little things. And with Eamon Worry out, I wonder how that goes. But Steelers, I yapped too long.
I agree. I think this is gonna be a funky game, and for that reason, I'm going Seahawks here. This is almost like what I was gonna designate as my upset of the week. Jeez, did that Steelers defense look very, very bad? And again, I'll leave it at that, so I don't go too long. I think the Seahawks are gonna win this one.
Seahawks.
Woo!
Yeah, Seahawks.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Go 12th man.
Solo. Riding solos on the Steelers. And then the final noon slate game, Niners favored by 2.5 at New Orleans Saints. Obviously, Brock Purdy likely not going to play. Obviously, George Kittle likely not going to play, or is not going to play because he is placed on IR. Saints have their own injuries. Julian Blackmon out for the season. Chase Young has a calf injury. Trevor Penning's not going to play left guard. So these two teams are already feeling the effects of the season wear and tear in week 2. If there was ever a game for the Saints to get somebody, it's with Mac Jones starting. But I'm going to take the Niners here.
Yeah, with all that being said, I am also going to take the Niners here.
Niners. Yeah, clean sweep there.
Oh, man, we're all taking Mac Jones. I don't like that at all.
Gross.
Flip. I'm flipping Saints.
Okay.
Then we get into Panthers, Cardinals. Cardinals are favored
Ugh.
by 6.5. This is the first of the 3 afternoon slate games. Give me the Cardinals. Yeah.
Yeah.
They weren't great against the Saints, but I
No.
think they're better than this Panthers team.
No, I'm right there with you. I think they're better than this Panthers team. This game is going to be, I don't want to say a snooze fest because, we're football's back. But, yeah, it's definitely better games going on during the time. But I'm right there with you. I'm going Kyler Murray and the Cardinals.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going Cardinals as well. Yeah, I had to check it. I'm not the vibes guy anymore, apparently. I don't know.
Yeah, you're now the caller
What
from
did
Chicago.
you have to check?
The vibes. Vibe meter.
I have listen, I don't have everything written down because I didn't know if I'd be on the podcast tonight. So normally, like, I have some notes, but I don't have everything over here. So I literally have my text messages with Ben, like, just over here to kind of make sure everything's all good. So, yeah.
Did you check
There
the
you
vibe
go.
meter?
Vibe's cold.
Broncos at Colts. Broncos favored by 1.5. This is pretty much a pick 'em. I'm taking the Colts. Give me the
I'm
Colts.
taking Broncos. Taking Broncos.
Broncos.
Sean Payton's defense. It's going to be great.
Broncos.
Yeah. And then we get into Eagles Chiefs, the headliner of the weekend Super Bowl rematch. Jalen Carter is back to go and try and sack Patrick Mahomes. The Chiefs are looking at an 0-2 record to start the season. I'm taking the Philadelphia Eagles here. I think they just win it in the spot.
Wow, I'm shocked. I mean, you had mentioned that 31 teams play preseason football, and the Bengals are the only one who don't. I'd like to say 30 teams play preseason football, and the Bengals and Eagles don't. I think that's why they looked as sloppy as what they did. They're really in a beneficial spot because of all the injuries. So hopefully the cornerback 2 spot doesn't look as bad as what it did. But I will be going with my birds. How could I not? Eagles.
So I, of all people, am the only one on this podcast going with the Chiefs. Okay.
Shocking.
I'll roll with it.
How does that make you feel?
I feel like a horrible person, Ben. It's not great. I'll tell you that much.
Evil in my body.
I feel gross.
Falcons.
You know that one episode of SpongeBob where he's got the green side on the other side of him? That's
Yeah.
what I feel like I just let out.
Yeah, I didn't like that one. You're so mean to everybody. Falcons at Vikings. Vikings favored by 3.5. Sunday Night Football rematch between Michael Penix Jr. and J.J. McCarthy from the national championship game 2 years ago. Obviously, these guys both have less than 5 starts to their name, and they're already getting the Sunday Night Football tag. This could be some bad football. Give me the Vikings, just because I think of the 4 units, the Vikings offense against the Falcons defense, I feel the most confident in, if that makes any sense.
Yes. No, that's the exact same reason that I'm going to go with the Vikings again. And JJ gets it done again against Michael Penix.
Yeah, I'm going with the Vikings here. Are they just going to be this team that wins ugly? Like, yeah. And let me tell you, I'm going with the
that's a
Vikings
stance
because of their
with J.J.
defense, not because of that crummy quarterback they have back there.
Mind you, he's played 1 game. Anyways.
Yeah, it's not a good one.
Best win percentage in NFL history.
Yeah, buddy.
And
Some
then we
are saying.
It's the truth. Then we get into the doubleheader Monday Night Football that
This is gross.
Matt despises. I hate it. I absolutely despise doubleheader Monday Night Football. But they spaced it out good. All right, one starts at 6, one starts at 9 Central Time for me. It could be different for you, but I like that. So if you're tuning into the end of Bucks Texans, you're not going to miss a lot of Chargers Raiders. You're going to miss 2 drives, and you could probably pause it and skip the commercials. You know what I'm saying? That's the way to do it. I'm rambling. Bucks Texans. I'm taking the Texans. I like the Texans in this spot. 0-1. They need a get back game. I'm taking the home team.
Whoa. I'm taking the Bucks here. I mean, Emeka Buka looked great. That Texans offensive line looked
Welcome to
awful.
Kamari Lassiter Island, Emeka Buka.
Yeah, that's why I am going with the Bucks here. I think Baker Mayfield has enough juice to get it done.
This defense is going to tear the Bucks apart. Give me the Texans.
Yeah. And then we go, lastly, Chargers at Raiders. Super late Monday Night Football game. You guys go first.
I'm
Wow, I
going
wanna
Chargers.
go.
This is a disgusting start time. Who's watching football until midnight on a Monday?
Me.
Me. I will be. Yeah, absolutely, I will be. We're sickos. We're about that life. Yeah, Chargers by a million. There's a lot of these spreads that I'm like, dude, this is crazy. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, the noon
I-
slate. The noon slate has a ton of them.
Let's not Chargers by a million this. You guys poo-pooed me when I said the Raiders were going to be better. I told everyone the Raiders were going to be better this year. You wrote me off. I'm right back. All that being said, we're riding with Jim and the Chargers here. I think the Chargers get this one done.
Okay, that's what I wanted to hear. I wanted to hear you guys both take Chargers so I could take Raiders. I'm
No,
riding with Gino.
you liked that, didn't you?
You set us up, you scumbag.
I'm riding with Gino, man. There was a stat before the Sunday night. I read it on the recap show. There was only one team going into the Bills, Ravens game, which I assume either one of those teams matched it, that had over 5 explosive completions, which is 20-plus yards. It was the Raiders. They had 9. 2 of them were to Dante Thornton.
Dante Thornton.
They couldn't run the ball at all with Genti in game 1. That's only going to go up. They're at home, so let's take the Raiders. Let's ride. I'm so excited to be so wrong on this team because I'm gonna have this offense.
It's gonna be great. I'm excited for it. I these are 2 of my loves in terms of teams that I thought were gonna be able to take that next step this year. So it was hard. It was like picking between my children here. But hey, on to the last segment of the episode here. College Corner. That being said, it was quite the yap session last week, so I will try to maybe trim that one down just a little bit so we don't go 30 minutes talking about the try. Emphasis on try. I can't guarantee that it will happen. But I mean, where else would we start? I touched on it just a little bit at the start. There was another defensive tackle that spit on someone this week.
I'd have 2 nickels. Weird that it happened twice.
Florida defensive tackle had ended up spitting on, like, spraying. It was awful if you saw the video. Just spraying a USF player. But all that being said, I mean, it was a close game all the way to the end, and it looked like Florida might have pulled away with it. But USF, I mean, man, they put together a drive there at the end. It took the lead and won the game. Walk-off field goal. We had mentioned keeping up with the group of 5 just a little bit, and I was like, we can probably write off USF because they have these 2 ranked games coming up.
Not so fast, my friend.
They said not so fast, and they went out and they beat Florida. It was an absolute shocker. Your guys' thoughts on that?
And I just
game?
want it to be known. So I had that game circled and marked, and we were going to talk about it, and then I was like, actually, let's save it because we could talk about Florida in the coming weeks when they travel to LSU and travel to Miami as a top 15 team. And Billy Napier decided to F me and said, let's lose to South Florida at home in Gainesville. Man, that was a problem, dude.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see if they can pick it up. I mean, that offense was absolutely abysmal for them. I mean, for you to go out.
He coached scared. He coached scared. Alex Golish and the South Florida Bulls, they coached like they wanted to win the football game. And something as little as this, like, this is how you know there was no fear in USF. They took like a 60-yard field goal. And most group of 5 teams would never, like, dare to do that because it's like, well, we're giving up field position in a game where we severely lack the talent gap. They did not care at all. And yeah, they ended up having that massive explosive play down the right sideline, and they win the football game, man.
They win the football game. Yeah, that was an absolute stunner. I mean, moving on to the next one, and this one pains me to say, but I can't say I'm too shocked. The lights were too bright for Sherrone Moore. Can we start chanting, turn off the lights, turn off the lights, turn off the lights? It was Michigan, obviously, if you could not have been able to tell by that entire monologue, lost the game. And people want to put a lot of that on Bryce Underwood. And if you do that, I'm just going to assume that you did not watch the football game because that might have been the most horrendous play calling I had ever seen. Me and Matt had left the first half of that game saying they just need to take the training wheels off this kid because everything was inside zone and 5 yards parallel to the line of scrimmage. They just would not let Bryce Underwood rip the ball down the field. And then it was the exact opposite of that. I mean, John Mateer made plays when he needed to. And that kid looked fearless. And I mean, his dual threat ability, his ability to shrug off players and continue to, churn his legs and pick up the first downs when he really needed it was on full display. I mean, in 3 months from now, we might be having a conversation about John Mateer being the first quarterback taken in this draft. I mean, that's how well he's played over the last 2 years.
Shot.
That is a conversation we will get to
I was thinking about. I'm not
later, because there was also some things we're being nitpicky about his inability to actually put air underneath the football and just lasering everything. But again, that's a conversation for summertime. But John Mateer really, again, he's the first 2 games has really shown out and looked absolutely amazing. But what did you see when watching that game?
What did I see?
Yeah.
I think you hit it on the head with Bryce specifically. Like they need to Penn State this receiver room. We need to stop with the Samaj Morgan thing. Like, can he just be like a kick returner? Oh wait, they don't have anybody else. Like, what is it? McCulley number 1.
All right,
it's pretty good. But outside of that, like I think this portal season, like I've said it, I think Michigan is playing for 4th in this conference, and they might be like 5th or 6th right now.
Yeah,
because of some of the results going around the conference. I could argue 7th right now if I wanted
you're really
to,
good,
but I won't. Overall, Bryce played like a true freshman on the road in his first start, and Sherrone Moore just was like, well, we're not going to change that. And then I think the 75-yard touchdown is the worst thing that could happen because he was like, wait, we can run the ball. We can do it. And then it didn't happen. And then for Mateer, let's see if he can handle the grind of the SEC schedule. Let's see, all right, before we start, because he was their run offense. Nobody else was able to gain anything.
Ott has no role in that.
He sucks, shocking. Dude. Good job, Jim Nagy. Clap it up. And then, like, overall, he had that throw, Mateer, down that right sideline, but he has the interception over the middle of the field where he just misses everything. Like, he is still a very sporadic player, and I think what his superpower is his twitch in the backfield and creating run offense. So I want to see how he passes against the SEC before we start making any, conclusions on him. I'm a hater because I'm a Texas fan, obviously, but as an unbiased observer from the outside, I get why people enjoy watching him play because he just runs around like a maniac and figures it out on the fly. Like, what is it? I mean, he's more like Kyler than he is Baker. So, that's I think that's fun. But, that's all for that game.
What was fun, that is for sure. But, yeah, moving on to the next game. Man, Clemson got a pass week 1. They got a pass to that offense not looking good. and you did go out. You did beat Troy 27-3, but it was an ugly offensive game. Again, this is one of those rain delay games. As I said, it throws it off. But the fact that you were down against Troy going into half, scoring 3 points, there's just not a justification for that. It looked bad. This was supposed to be a get-right game. This was supposed to be, okay, you looked bad against LSU. But now you get to play Troy. Everything will be all right. Cade, you'll find your rhythm. It's against Troy, of course. No. Wrong. It was awful.
They still can't run the ball at all.
It stinks. Like I'm at a loss of words for how bad that Clemson offense looks. It is garbage. I mean, it's getting to the point where we'll talk about them here later. I don't know if they're going to win the ACC with how bad this offense has looked. I'll leave it at that because we'll get into one of their games. But did you see anything that was even somewhat encouraging from this game, Matt?
No. I think this is the worst. I think this is nightmare scenario for Clemson fans. Is what if they stay the same? What if all this potential doesn't actually get realized and we just stay the same and we're still the same 9-3 ACC contender team, and we're not one of the 5 best teams in the country, and we're not the most talented roster in the country, and we don't take a step. And in 2 weeks, it feels like it hasn't happened. Obviously, they have a big one this weekend, so that we'll talk about. But yeah, to go down 16-0 to Troy and have to climb out of it, the drive out of half was nice. So Dabo got the juices flowing there. But yeah, overall, not great.
Not great. Moving on to another game that I had kind of teased a little bit. Man, did Illinois absolutely destroy Duke? I mean, we went into that game, and I mean, the first quarter of the game, me and Matt had a conversation about it, and we're like, we just don't know how Illinois is going to be able to really convert. And we joked, and we're like, oh, off of muffed punts is how they'll be able to score points.
Big Ten way.
But they proved us both wrong. They proved us both wrong. I mean, that team, again, it didn't start out great, but they had a very, very, very strong finish to the game. And maybe Illinois is that Big Ten team that everyone was talking about. Again, they're ranked 10 now. We'll see how it plays up when it actually comes to Big Ten play. But, I mean, it sure was a statement game, and a game in which everyone was picking Duke. The both of us picking Duke as an upset. They showed us. They proved us wrong. That's for sure.
Yeah, six drives. So the game at half was 14-13, Illini. 6 drives for Illinois in the second half. 4 touchdowns, 1 field goal, 1 kneel down drive. So yeah, I think when it mattered, the experience of Altmaier prevailed against the inexperienced talent of Darian Mensah.
Yeah. So, run through this one very, very quickly. The Cyhawk was exactly what everyone would have expected. It was, again, kind of your race to 20-ish kind of game. It was a defensive battle. Both teams kind of looked really sloppy on offense. Defense ended up winning. Walk-off field goal the same way that it did last year. It's exactly what you come to expect out of this game, and I don't know if there's much more that needs to be said. Final 2 points here. Could be some QB struggles there in Boulder. They rotated.
Stop.
Yeah. They rotated between all 3 quarterbacks. As expected, Salter started the game. They're like, you got this. Go get him, Tiger. They had pulled him out. They had put, Juju Lewis in, and they said, okay, well, Salter, you're getting it done on the ground, but you're not really getting anything else done. Let's see what Juju has. They gave him 1 drive. Realized, well, that wasn't going to work. He's a true freshman. Of course it wasn't going to work. So they put in Ryan Stops, and he actually looked good. I mean, that was the most productive that offense had looked all game. For him to march down the field, going into half and score a touchdown, 75-yard drive in 50 seconds was great, and that's who they're riding with now. And we'll see if it sticks throughout the rest of the season. Let's see if they ride with him. Maybe they make that switch back to Juju. Maybe they make the switch back to Salter. But as of right now, I mean, they're riding with who was their QB3 going into last week. Now is their starting quarterback. And then lastly, Matt had touched on it. There's no actual real ramifications, but Mark Stoops specifically hates Matt. The line on that game was 8.5, and they were on the verge of the red zone, Kentucky, with like 10 seconds left in the game, down by 10. And Stoops being Stoops and being petty because good teams cover, I guess, decided to kick the field goal on first down and cut the lead from 10-7. So anyone who took Ole Miss to cover lost all of their money and made Matt lose thousands of dollars. So how does it make you feel Mark Stoops does not like you?
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. I got over it.
Yeah. But that was the recap this week. Again, tried to keep it a little bit shorter for you, but yeah, I tried to just go with some stuff. If you want to pick up some slack, I don't want to. I could spend 2 hours talking.
Bama winning 73-0 was a good thing. I don't care if it's UL Monroe. That was good. I liked that. And then Arizona State losing to Mississippi State on a blown blitz. We gotta mention it again. The Cowbells. And then Oregon 69-3.
Josh Strap.
Lanning. Let's go, Lanning. And Dante Moore is good. I am stamping it.
Shocker.
Dante Moore is good. All right. Oh, Matt, the 5-star quarterback from a few years ago who got to sit and learn under Dylan Gabriel's good. Yes, he is. There's a lot of talk about how Oregon wouldn't make the playoffs because he wasn't going to be good. And he wasn't going to beat out Austin Novosad for the quarterback battle. So, just want that to be known. Let's get into
FSU looks good too. So,
yeah, he's Texas A&M. Where do we want to start, Ben?
Just start at the top and then go down.
Well,
You want me to start with the game day?
I think.
Do you want to go to the CW first?
I think we should start with what on the 6 games that I have is the only ranked matchup. USF versus Miami. Can USF continue it? But I'll let you take it away here.
All right, well, we're going to CW. We're going to USF Miami. Can USF continue it? I think at this point, even if it's weird because they can punt on this game now, right?
Yeah,
they can. They have their win, even if Florida sucks and is actually 6-6. Still, a win in Gainesville means a lot to the committee, and USF also 34-7 against Boise, who was a top 25 team. But there was a lot of poll talk this week, all right? A lot of
I hated this. The AP poll's awful.
Haley Sawyer, obviously, if you're a college football fan, you saw her talk about it. She is a USC beat writer. She had no idea what happened in USF Florida, and nor do I ask her to know what happened in that game. But Matt, she's voting on the AP poll. She should know. I understand, but this is the way the AP has worked for years and years, is they believe that beat writers have the most informed and valid opinions. And to be frank, me and Ben sitting on our couches each week scrolling through games probably have more credibility to vote on polls because we are sitting and scrolling and watching actual teams play instead of covering one singular team.
Yeah.
Not trying to be arrogant loser, but that is the truth. And so my overall assessment on the AP is, well, it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. I don't care enough about it. A lot of people, I think, made it a big, attacking her specifically. There were, I believe, 8 or 9 who had SMU still ranked higher than Baylor. Baylor beat SMU in Dallas this weekend. So, and they were all men. So, I don't want to make this a misogynist thing. It's everybody is bad along the AP poll, and I just want that to be known. It is not life or death. And also, at the same time, for the college football playoff, there's athletic directors who are voting on that, and former college football players voting on that. There's these rankings there's not a lot of credibility. I think everybody's opinions are going to be different, but at the same time, just don't stress too much. Tennessee went up 7-ish spots this weekend because they're going to play a game day game.
Yeah.
They beat ETSU.
Cade McNamara.
But
no.
Speaking on this game, speaking on this game specifically, I think Miami kills them. Let's go, Mario.
Yes. Again, as fun as these first 2 weeks with USF has been beating 2 ranked teams. Again, jury's still out on Boise. We'll see how they are. I mean, Boise did bounce back. But at the time, it was a ranked Boise team, and then turning around and beating a ranked Florida team is very impressive. And it's been a very fun team to root for. But yeah, I really do think Miami kills them. This isn't the Florida team that they played last week. Famous last words, I guess. But yeah, I do think Miami kills them. I think Carson Beck just rips them to pieces, and that hurts. That hurts me to say that.
Oh, I bet it does.
Me saying that. So,
I bet it does. You hater.
Hey, you hate John Mateer. What can I say?
I do. It's about hate. It's a sport of hate. Where do you want to go next?
I mean, we could talk about the game we teased, Clemson, Georgia Tech.
Oh, okay. So Clemson in Atlanta. This is a campus game, unlike Georgia and Georgia Tech this year, by the way. Still upset about that. This was a game that we talked about preseason, and I think a lot of people, we were lower on Miami. Hand up, wrong about that. But doesn't stop me from being high on Georgia Tech. And this is I think this line started at 5.5. It's worked all the way down to this. So it doesn't make me feel great that I'm going to have Georgia Tech winning. But the reason I'm taking Georgia Tech is because of the 2 teams on the field, Clemson is still just up in the air mystery, trying to figure it out, trying to look in the mirror. Georgia Tech knows exactly what they are, and you know what that is? We're going to punch you in the mouth for 60 effing minutes. That is what Brent Key wants to do. That is what Haynes King wants to do. Hopefully King is playing in this game. I know Aaron Philo started against FCS, whoever, last week. Didn't see much of that game, sorry. But I assume they held him out to play in this game. This is a massive game for the ACC. This is massive.
Absolutely.
This is, if Clemson, just imagine the sky that falls if Clemson is 1-2 with their 2 major games to start the season. They outright lose. But Ben, what do you got on this one?
No, it scares me that we're both taking Georgia Tech, but I am taking Georgia Tech for the aforementioned Haynes King. Dude's an absolute bulldog. He's he's a treat to watch, and as you said again, this has huge ACC implications right now. And I could be forgetting a team, but it looks like it's going to be a 3-team race there in the ACC between SMU, Clemson, and Georgia Tech. And I mean, this could be a big deciding factor on who's going to be playing in that game. Again, it could be a rematch as well. We'll see. But I'm going Georgia Tech here.
I like it. That's fun. I'm excited for that one.
Yes.
Yeah, the last time they hosted a top 10 team at home was Miami, Florida last year. Cam Ward, their first loss of the season. So Georgia Tech knows how to win these games. at home against these teams. So, yeah.
Exactly.
All
And
right.
by the way, grossly
Oh.
misspoke at the top of this when I said only ranked matchup. I have it written down. I just didn't have the funny looking numbers next to them.
There's a ton of ranked matchups.
Yeah, I mean, there's two other
Nice.
ones to talk about here.
Yeah.
Stupid. You
And
want to work our way over to the SEC?
There should have been 3, by the way. We'll talk about
Yes.
one of them. There should be 3. But
I
finally,
hope.
we get to talk about my beloved SEC game day, Georgia at Tennessee. This is another one of those that, like, this has really plummeted to Tennessee's side of the line. It's 3.5 for Georgia right now. Give me Georgia, obviously.
Yeah.
Because Kirby against Tennessee is just a rocket. But I think there's a lot of, like, Georgia has not been unleashed yet. All right. I don't care about the Marshall game. You know why? Because there was a rain delay and Gunnar Stockton had like a 1.1 average depth of target. They literally didn't show anything. They were just like, we're going to out-athlete Marshall for 3 hours. Oh, there's a rain delay. We'll out-athlete him for 2 more hours. Kind of feel. So I have no stock in that game. And Tennessee, they couldn't stop Syracuse. I like some of the Angeli stuff, but there are so much more dynamic playmakers along this Georgia team, especially in the portal this year. If Kirby can make this a game where, like, if Aguilar cannot hit the over the top like Hooker did against Bama a few years ago, where, you know, what is it? Hyatt has 200 yards, 5 touchdowns, whatever it was. I think Georgia's fine. I think Georgia's going to dare him to pass, and you know, they're going to swallow up the run game as they have in seasons past. And then, oh, by the way, Tennessee is still going to be missing Jermon McCoy. That's like no shot he's playing. Just overall, everything. I don't know how this line is going to Tennessee outside of just like vibes, because Georgia is far and away the better team to me. Georgia has the far and away better success in the past to me, and they have the better coach to me. So unless you really like Aguilar over Stockton, which I like Aguilar, but
No, I like Aguilar, but I think this is going to be his first true test. I mean, we had mentioned, like, oh, you looked good against Syracuse. Well, congratulations. I'm proud of you, but you have not seen an SEC defense, let alone a Kirby Smart defense.
yeah.
I think he's going to be in hell. I really think Joey Aguilar is going to be in hell in this game. And again, I do like him. I just think he's going to struggle immensely. I mean, this Georgia offense, I think, could come out slow, and I still think Georgia will win this game.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get into the game at South Bend. Texas A&M travels to Notre Dame. Notre Dame by a touchdown. Notre Dame was on bye last week, so there is a world in which Notre Dame's 2 ranked opponents all season are played in the first 2 weeks of the season, and they lose both of them. This is, again, like, you know, defensive, hard-headed coaches going at it at night. I think it's, you know, it's a fun helmet matchup as it was the first time around. It was a grinded-out slugfest, as it, you know, being week 1 last year. This time it's being week 3. A&M has not looked good against, you know, bad teams. Utah State and UTSA were able to move the ball on them. And you look at Notre Dame, and we talked about it when last week. Like, CJ Carr was really good in that Miami game. I wonder if Denbrock actually opens up the playbook a little bit for him. I know there's a lot of, like, he's a Jaden Daniels merchant, things like that. But I think Denbrock kind of was coaching that game in his own little box, the same way Sharon Moore did for Underwood, that, like, I am not going to let him lose us this football game. And I think this is a game where you need, more so than I don't want him to lose it, you need him to win it against Texas A&M, because you cannot
Well,
afford,
and he proved he could.
yeah, you cannot afford to lose this one. Marcel Reed, he is what he is, especially through 2 weeks. I don't need any takes on him. But the biggest thing is, if Miami's receivers were able to create separation against Notre Dame's man coverage, Casey Concepcion, Terry Boussey, those guys are electric in open space. So if Reed can make some throws down the field against this Notre Dame man coverage, which they're going to get, watch out. I think A&M could score in this game.
I think A&M could absolutely score in this game. I mean, you wouldn't, this would have shocked me going into the season that this would have been my question more than anything. My question isn't, does CJ Carr have what it takes? It's, does this offense have what it takes to be able to get their best player up to speed and actually make an impact in Jeremiah Love? Because we didn't see it when they played Miami. It was shocking. I mean, Jeremiah Love is one of the best players in college football, and I don't want to say abysmal, but he had very, very little impact. So can Notre Dame stay in this game and limit those big time plays from Texas A&M and those receivers to give Jeremiah Love a chance to actually put an imprint on this game and show to everyone in the country why he is the best running back? And that's really the thing I'm going to be looking for. And even if it's not working early on, please, for the love of God, continue to stick with it. Again, we're talking about this guy because he is so good. Don't shy away from it, even if you're down. Let him make an impact on the game. I'm going to be interested to see how that offense does if they start out down. That being said, hurts me. I want to pick Notre Dame because I do love Jeremiah Love. I do love CJ Carr. But I'm going Texas A&M here, man.
Yeah, one last thing on the A&M offense. Le'Veon Moss, Ruben Owens, 25 total carries combined for each of them. I think this is a game where they're going to lead into the run game to set up those man coverage pass looks. And if you remember, Miami was able to have some long sustaining drives because they ran the ball right through the teeth of Notre Dame's front. I'm taking Notre Dame out of spite, but I don't hate the Aggies in this spot. I really don't. It comes down to Marcel Reed's arm, as every game of the season likely will. But
yeah,
let's get into my last of the five, and then we can get into some notable games, because I actually brought some notable games this week. I haven't the last few weeks.
I'm so
because I can't miss out on some of these stuff. But let's go to Baton Rouge under the lights, Florida at LSU. This was certainly going to be the game day game, and then Billy Napier pissed down his leg. Womp womp. LSU is where I'm going to start. They have been alarming as Clemson to me, because they have 40 total points in 2 games against Clemson, who's good, and Louisiana Tech. So I mean, we got to see this offense kind of break through for me to trust it as one of the offenses in the country. It's just weird to say that. I think going into the season, I felt pretty content with, the offense is going to move the ball. Are these transfers on defense going to be what, takes them to the next level? I'm kind of swayed where I'm more worried about the offense. Like, Caden Durham still can't run the ball. He's electric. The offensive line, 30 carries for 103 yards through 2 games. One of those against a group of 5 team in Louisiana Tech. Kind of a little hesitant there with the LSU Tigers offense. And then for Florida, I mean, they were in a classic look-ahead spot against South Florida. They were staring at this one. It doesn't make this one any easier. I'm not saying that, because now there's 0 margin for error, because I think before you could have lost this game to LSU and still been top 15 ranked if you beat USF, but you didn't. So now you're unranked and you can only plummet even further if you lose. But I don't think I will be able to quit Florida, just because I believe in the quarterback talent so much and their offense. I'm going to take LSU, Florida plus the points. Don't love it. Don't love it, even with, Dallas Wilson, the 5-star freshman receiver, still in a boot, still not playing, still not practicing. But I think this is a spot where Florida keeps it close, scores some, big play. This was a game last year where LSU had like 40 more or like 35-ish more offensive plays than Florida. They could not hit explosive plays on this Florida defense last year. Wonder if they can this year in Baton Rouge.
Yeah, I think this is going to come down to a little bit more of that classic SEC defensive battle, kind of a little bit of shades of what we had seen against LSU and Clemson the first week of football. And it's really a matter of what offense breaks through. And for that reason, I'm going to go LSU because at least they've proven a little bit. And I like the pieces that they have outside of the quarterback. Because as you said, I mean, it's easy to get excited about that Florida offense because of DJ Lagway. But outside of DJ Lagway, they're still figuring a lot of pieces out. And it's crazy for me to say this considering who it is, but I like LSU's head coach more. I really don't like Brian Kelly, but I like him more than I like Billy Napier. That's for sure. So I'm just, again, I'm going with the pieces on offense that I like more, and as hard as it is to stomach, the coach that I like more. So I do have LSU winning this one, and I just wouldn't even touch the spread. I just hate it. Absolutely on either side of it. I'd stay far away and just not place any money on it at all.
This is also a fun rivalry. This is like these two schools do hate each other. So like I always love to kind of throw that out there that there's some hate here.
Yes, absolutely. And then just some honorable mentions. I'll just bring them up, talk about them very briefly. Pick up some slack and any teams that I had missed. The first one for me is the Wisconsin at Alabama. I think this game would have been much more fun
on my
if
list.
if Billy Edwards was gonna play. Danny O'Neal kind of figured it out as the game went on against Middle Tennessee. But that's Middle Tennessee. That's no Bama. But I still think it's going to be a very, very fun game to watch. And then pivoting to Friday night football, Kansas State versus Arizona. I don't think Arizona is going to even be in a place to compete for the Big 12 here, but I think this could be the knockout punch for K-State. I mean, K-State has looked bad. If they lose to Arizona, they're just completely out of it now at this point.
It's a pick 'em.
Yeah.
If you told me before the season Kansas State traveling to Arizona would be a pick 'em, I'd say, how good is Arizona?
Exactly, right?
This is also a non-conference game. I just want that to be known.
Oh gosh, that's gross. I hate it because it was scheduled.
I think
before.
Technically Arizona is still Pac-12 in quotations when this was scheduled.
Yes, exactly. I have an SEC battle, Ole Miss versus Arkansas. Again, it's just gonna be your SEC games. It's gonna be really, really interesting. And then the last one, I just had to throw it in here because of the history, not between the two actual teams, but because of the history of the mascots. Ohio is playing OSU. The last time
you went a different way. Okay.
Yes. Ohio is playing OSU. The last time that had happened, Ohio's mascot had brutally attacked Brutus, and like it was supposed to be a joke, but like actually like started like throwing haymakers at Brutus the Buckeye, and the guy that was the mascot for Ohio got like kicked out of the school completely for assault. Again, I think OSU is going to run away with it, but I just think it's just a funny little like tidbit in history between the two and the mascots hating each other. But what are some notable games that you'd like to touch on briefly?
Some notable games Thursday night: State versus Wake Forest. Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
NC State on their quest to be bowl eligible. They need some of these games. I was looking at their schedule this morning. Like What if they're 6-0? I think they have Virginia Tech at home soon. They have Campbell, who's FCS. They have this game against Wake, and then one more I can't remember. But Thursday night, some Thursday night college football. It's always a fun time. I had K-State, Arizona on mine. I had Wisconsin, Bama on mine. I had the backyard brawl, Pittsburgh versus West Virginia. Even if West Virginia might be in the bottom 3 of the Big 12 with UCF and Oklahoma State, this is still a game they want to win. This is still a game they've won in the past. These battles are always fun. And then this was the tease I had. This should be a ranked matchup. Vandy versus South Carolina. Because you know why? These two teams have a common opponent in Virginia Tech. And one of them in Vandy beat them by multiple scores, by 20-plus points on the road in Blacksburg. South Carolina needed a punt return and an explosive touchdown in the final minutes of the fourth quarter to get past Virginia Tech, who didn't score a touchdown in that game. South Carolina ranked as a top 10 team or top 11 team in the country. My mistake. Sorry, AP poll. I think this is a game Vandy could get them. All right, Vandy could get them. The spread is 4.5, so that's a fun one. And then this is the one I thought you were talking about: Duke at Tulane. Mensa coming to New Orleans. Again, Summerall was asked about it, and he's like, listen, I've taken jobs for more money before, so I'm not faulting the kid. But I think this is a chip on the shoulder for Tulane because they need it in the American. I'm pretty sure they face South Florida this year, so to get a big non-con game like this against Duke, and it is a big non-con game when you face any power opponents for these group of 5 teams, it is a big one. And so if they could get that one, it's a pick'em game at home. See what you got, Tulane. And then lastly, let's keep the Pac-12 alive. Let's continue to have it alive just a little bit longer. Minnesota travels to Cal Berkeley, 9:30 Central Time. I had to make mention of it because we were making jokes in the sports book. You see how much Minnesota's winning by, and it kept going up. It went from 40 to 50 to 60 at halftime, and then taking bets, would they score 100? They didn't, but they ended up blowing out whoever they played. I can't remember. Doesn't matter. No. And then Cal has electric. And Northwestern State, right? And then Cal Berkeley obviously has Jaron Sakapuatelli at quarterback, the lefty slinger, the true freshman. This is a game that I'm very excited for because these are the games I kind of live for, where it's like some fun, big conference teams who are never going to make the playoff, but both of them are bowl eligible teams, and just a fun one to keep an eye on as you're laying down to slumber.
Yes, and really quickly, the team you were looking for there, Matt, on NC State's schedule would be a team that we had mentioned a couple times today. That would be Duke. Was the team that you were missing when you're talking about the first 6 weeks. And then kind of the last place I'd want to leave it off. Everyone was really sad when the Pac-12 disbanded, mainly for one reason, and that was because we could no longer get Pac-12 after dark. Well, now we got Big Ten after dark. We have Michigan State traveling all the way over to USC, and that kickoff time is at like 11 o'clock at night or something.
It's not this week. I know that.
Yeah, it's not this week, but like that's going to be like an 11. I think it's like 11 o'clock at night or something. So give me that. Who needs Pac-12 at night when you got Big Ten at night? I'm also, so far here for it.
I missed something. I'm all in on Mizzou. I think Bo Perbula's good. I think the offense is good.
That first half for Bo was bad, man.
I think I'm in. I'm in. I like their schedule. I think they have a nice one this week against ULL, Louisiana Lafayette, and then they get South Carolina at home next week. So we're circling Mizzou. All right, I'm in.
All aboard the Hardy train.
I'm in. They don't leave the state. They don't leave. I think I mentioned this when we talked about the Kansas game. They don't leave Missouri until at Auburn in the middle of October.
It's crazy.
In that stretch, they get ULL, as I mentioned, South Carolina next week, UMass, and then October 11th, they welcome Bama. So,
Ugh, huge. But yeah, hey, there you go. It's a podcast for the week. Hopefully, you guys got pumped. I really my last thoughts was great week one of the NFL. A lot going on. College football, as we've talked about, full swing. Getting a little bit more into some conference play. As the month moves on, but more than anything, I'd like to we talked about it at the top here. I'd like to give a birthday shout out to the caller from Chicago. I mean,
Oh,
brother,
hey.
it is Ryan is still here. I promise.
Jazz
Um,
hands.
yes, it is his birthday tomorrow. Um, Happy 23rd birthday. He's gonna absolutely live it up. Wish him a happy
Jordan birthday,
birthday.
baby.
Yeah, there you go. And I just wanted to say happy birthday, brother. It's been a great, amazing, wonderful 4 or 5 years of the podcast. Another year around the sun, and again, happy early birthday to you, brother.
I
Hopefully you
appreciate
enjoy
it.
it.
We've got a good hour and a half here until the clock strikes, midnight. So it's gonna be fun. This past weekend was a lot of fun. I mean, I'm lucky enough to say that I get a long weekend this time as well. Off tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Time to watch more football. Kind of settle down. I'm going right back to where we were on Saturday. Any minute now. So pretty excited there, getting right back on the road. And I don't think, because between you guys, our buddy Alex showed up, my girlfriend, was also there. So I don't think there's anybody else I would have wanted to do that with. It was a lot of fun this weekend, man. So Ben, thanks for coming up. That was awesome. Matt, thanks for joining us. Having the guys stay over at my place for once. This is the first time like ever that is like really happened in terms of like, we're going to crash at your place, dude. And then we're just going to watch football for the week. And I'm like, yeah, that was my place. So that was cool. Yeah, I don't know. Birthdays, whatever, but that was what really mattered. That made my whole month. And I don't know. It was cool. It was cool. So, and I wouldn't miss this. This was normally something I want to say in previous years that I would step back and be like, I'm going to take the night and kind of enjoy myself. This is the one where I'm like, I don't think that needs to happen anymore. Pushing the chips in on this a little bit more recently. Matt joining the team within the past year. This is a team effort. It's not just two guys and, talking football once a week. This is 3 guys and one dude doing way more work than he has to. So, Matt, I appreciate you for that. But nonetheless, I appreciate the recognition, boys.
likewise, I really appreciated the call-in. The call-in got me going. JJ McCarthy, I knew I could get you, and I did.
Dude, I had to log off for the night, you jerk.
I had to get out of here.
You had missed it, but we had joked that it was the universe spiting you for wanting to talk about Dolphins football. So.
Dude, I genuinely think at this point that God's a Packers fan. That's where I rest my case. I have no idea. Something really quick that I wanted to mention that I saw, and if anybody's into conspiracy theories, we'll do this one, right?
Gosh.
This is fun. I promise.
This is what you stay here for, folks.
Yeah, please let me yap about the Bears for a little bit longer. Where's this at? Come on. Sorry, work's been really slow. But there we go. Okay. I've been on TikTok a lot lately, so history is repeating itself apparently. So, there's a new coach that was previously an OC, the top OC, right? Or highly sought after.
Oh my God.
Did you see this? Please tell me you saw
this. Yes, dude. Oh my God. All
Matt
right.
Nagy was also a new coach who was a sought after offensive coordinator. There's a second-year quarterback that was a top 2 draft pick this year. And back then there was also a second-year quarterback who was a top 2 draft pick in Mitch Trubisky. They lost their first game to divisional opponents after collapsing and allowing 21 points in the fourth quarter. That was, what happened on Monday. Did you know in 2018 they lost their first game to a divisional opponent after collapsing and allowing 21 points in the fourth quarter? That happened. There was 23 total points for the first 3 quarters of the game back then. Same thing for this year. Bears finished 5-11 this past season. Or 5 wins, I'm sorry. 5 wins this past season. 5 wins in 2017 for the Bears. Did you know this year there were 35 pass attempts in the first game? Did you know in 2018 there were 35 pass attempts in that first game? In 2018, the Bears finished 12-4. Matt Nagy was the coach of the year, and there was the infamous double doink. Do we get a repeat of that? Because, dude, I don't know what I'm going to do. I might spiral. I'm not going to lie. If we lose to the Eagles on a double doink.
Yeah,
Well,
one thing I want to add to that. Who won the Super Bowl the year before 2018 season?
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. It was the Eagles. Oh, crazy. Get ready, boys. 12-4 season, and the delusion's going to settle in.
Can't make this up, folks.
Yeah, no. Anyways, any closing comments, boys, before we shut this thing down for going live for 2 hours?
No, Jay, enjoy it. Football again. Said it last week. Football's back. Enjoy it.
Football, Matt. Yeah.
Football.
All right. We want to thank Uppercuts Grooming, Regional Radio Sports Network, and Spotify for Podcasters for helping us grow as a podcast. And we will see you guys next week. Enjoy your weekend with all the football that's coming in within the next couple days. See you guys later.